Black Eyes TV in the house once again. Permaculture, the talk of the day. Take it away, my brother, when you're ready.
Okay, greetings, Black Eyes TV. I'm Kevin Haynes. Today I'm going to discuss some of the skills I have. I'm going to talk about permaculture. I'm a permaculture designer. I've only really just gathered this information and skills in recent times, so it's a new profession. I have other professions. But anyway, I'd like to share some of the basic rudiments of permaculture, and obviously after this little introduction you can contact me and get more information about how you can get involved in this reality. So permaculture, what's permaculture? Permaculture is mainly about a sustainable system. Sustainable system meaning that you're self-sufficient in everything that you need as a human being. Food, hot water, clean water, light, a nice home, and being vibrating with nature in a way that I think that's been misunderstood, how we're supposed to be connected with nature. So permaculture is a kind of a magnified version, giving you a magnified glass of how we are supposed to operate in nature and how we're supposed to be sustainable as the Most High has wanted us to be all along. So permaculture, sustainable systems. The idea itself is brought together by some Australian people who decided that they wanted to change their landscape in Australia and create a system where there's fairness and balance, let's put it that way, because obviously in Australia, if you know what's going on there, over history and what's been happening. Anyway, the, let's say, middle class university type of people, these people got together. A guy called Bill Morrison, who's known as somebody that deals with agriculture and deals with different types of information about the landscape. He got some other people together and they decided to go around the world to discover how different indigenous people can be sustainable in different ways. So they went to Africa and they discovered how people use nature in different ways to be sustainable. So they'd go to South Africa, they'd meet an indigenous tribe who knew how to create a different pH in their water. And it was what they did in their indigenous ways. And they did this in a sustainable way. They met other people in other parts of Africa and began to realize that there were different techniques of sustainability for water, for wind energy, for even solar energy. They gathered all this different type of information, went back to Australia and created permaculture. Wanted to try it out, so they created a sustainable system, small one, where they had their own food forests, their own water system that collected the rain and then they cleaned the water. Then they used more wind energy at the time because it was in the 60s and 70s, so solar energy wasn't really around so much then. So they were using, they knew about it and they probably experimented with it a bit, but the wind energy was the energy that they could get. So that's what they used to generate their kind of electricity that they needed, for instance. And also, they learned about nature, the most important aspect of it. They learned how to be with the insects, the animals, the plants, and everything. There's a way to be with them, and they also learned that through the indigenous peoples too. How you be with animals, how you be with plants, how you be with insects, what they do, what they don't do. They put this package together, and then they started to kind of, it started to kind of get bigger, and they started to kind of do programs in different parts of the world now, where they're giving this kind of knowledge back to people in Asia, different parts of Asia, in China, in India, in all kind of different places. So anyway, just kind of giving you a background about permaculture, who's kind of created the terminology of permaculture. Somebody of myself with melanin and African content. When I done the course, obviously I didn't see many people of colour. It was mainly European people that was in the course, Americans, people from Canada, Australia obviously, the UK, not people from London, but English people, and other parts of the UK. And so I saw myself kind of a little bit alone, somebody that is, I consider myself to be a conscious brother, in the sense of my other works is about that kind of field. So this was a kind of a blessing, let's put it that way, in disguise, given to me to go and learn it. I kind of looked at the information in the beginning and I thought, well, let me check it out. My research came to, other than doing the permaculture course, what I did, I also kind of done my own research into what, who these people that they kind of connected with, and then what kind of science it really was. And so my conclusions came to that at the end of the day, ancient people were using what I call passive energy systems that were sustainable systems, really. That's what they were. They were passive energy systems, meaning that they were using energy that could never run out because it was there in abundance. Also, the way that you create abundance, for instance, within some of the terminologies of permaculture, creating abundance of yield through diversity means that basically you're allowing lots of species of life to exist in a reality to create other species of life. So there's abundance of everything. So if you've got 5 different types of bees, they might have 5 different types of honeys that can do different things for different species and so forth. So there's abundance of life, meaning there's abundance of everything for you to have. So that is the kind of terminology that was kind of probably thought, and that comes into the spiritual reasoning at the end of it. So our ancestors, or our ancient people who were dealing with passive energy, that's what we were doing. So coming to that understanding, I'm kind of blessed and feel blessed to now share this in a kind of another way, because now I've got to try to give this information in a slightly different way to what I was taught, let's put it that way, because of the way that I was taught. So permaculture, what else is it? Basics, growing food, but food forestry, it's not gardening. Food forestry means a diversity of food grown together in a certain kind of designed way, specifically, so that this diverse food grows in that way, and it will be sustainable as well, meaning that that kind of crop that you're creating will go on quite a long way. It might have some changes, because that's what diversity is about, so it will change around a bit. It might not look the same it did 10 years ago. It will kind of be more, but it'll be more yield for you to kind of have, basically. The other concept of permaculture are having sustainable systems like your house. So you build a house in a particular way as well. So you build your house based on the climate that you're living in, and also there's a way to do that. So the way that the old way that you would construct your house is no longer how the houses are built today. This passive house that you're going to create will be very different. So that's another point. Everything starts from the house anyway, in a permaculture reality, and then it goes outwards. Energy. You've got 3 or 4 different ways of creating sustainable energy, from wind, water, solar. You also, everything that you're doing is real. Everything that you're doing is organic. Whatever that kind of means, but it just means it's real. Yeah, because I think this organic thing that's going on around at the moment is is another story that's happening right now. Yeah. So why I say that is because you have to have sustainable things in an ecosystem that is creating life and abundance of life in a real way. So then you know that the things that you're eating is real. If you're going to say organic, then yeah, but that's what we're coming to with a permaculture, kind of getting that kind of balance of understanding what's real and what is not real. We're trying to, if you want, cocoon a reality so that things in it is real. So permaculture is a little bit about that. Creating or working within the ecosystem that is already there, allowing it to express itself with your help. Your help is to put seeds on the ground, to allow other species to kind of be, because you're going to design it in a particular way. So this is what permaculture is all about. The other thing is vegetables. You have a setup for water. You'll have a setup for a small solar energy, so you can get certain energy to do whatever it is you need to do. So there can be micro versions of this. The macro would be the rural. You've got an acre of land, and so now you can design it in a particular way to kind of get more energy if you want, or have more sustainable energy because you've got more space to kind of create that. I mean, if you've got a small box, then you can only put certain things in that small box. But you can still do something in that small box. So what I'm saying is the urban version is for those who want to experiment with all of the different departments of permaculture and get something out of it. So if it's food, if it's water, if it's light, you can do all of that in a small space. You can grow enough food for yourself in a small space. If you do it correctly, you could feed yourself for a year. You could have fresh water for a year. You could have solar energy for a year in a small space if you did it correctly. Yeah, so that's what the design part's about, doing it correctly. Because it's not, like I said before, it's not really about just gardening. Because I think once people kind of see it, they'll see a lot about food growing. But it's correct. It has all of them wisdoms in it. But it's really about you now creating yield and choosing what to do with the yield. So the other department, which is quite important, is if you have a rural setting, that means you're not alone. You can't really do this alone. You have to do it as a community of people. So the community of people now that does this reality are all on the same conscious wavelength, And if they're not, it doesn't work. That's part of permaculture. So, meaning that you have to be a giver. So when you've created a yield, you've got to be giving it. And in return, you as a community will be doing the same, and then that's how it's sustained. That's how it's being sustainable. Amongst yourselves, you're sustainable now. It's the community now is sustainable, and it chooses how it wants its yield to be. Everybody has got what they need.
Let's get out.
So yeah, so basically that's the basics of permaculture. And if you want to know more information, you can contact me on Haynes, Haynes 678 at hotmail.com. And yeah, you can contact me and I can give you more information. If you're interested in the program, which I'm just preparing to design for around about April kind of period of time, contact me and please get involved and we can take it from there. Bless.
Many thanks, my brother, for giving us that introductory into the permaculture world. Yeah, and before I let you go, I just want you to just go over the relevance between permaculture and black people. Just go over that one more time,
Right.
because you know.
Yeah, okay, that's a very important question. The relevance. The relevance is, I said before, those of us from the ancient times used passive energy systems. We are the creators of passive energy systems, basically. Yeah. The systems that we're using today are not passive systems, they're combustion systems. So, which means it's energy that's going to run out. And someone has to go and get money to pay for that, to go and get more. So the relevance is that it's indigenous people who their wisdoms obviously hasn't touched us, and we need to be able to kind of tune back into these types of passive systems or thoughts or ancient thoughts our ancestors were dealing with. So permaculture is about our ancestors' thoughts of how to be on the planet. Other peoples have collected the information and kind of running with it and doing what they need to do. So that's the relevance.
Thank you, my brother.
Yes,
Appreciate it. We will be speaking again
Okay, brother.
and picking up some more information on permaculture, on black people and relevance
Sure.
of it all. Thank you very much.
Sure.